Hello everyone and welcome to Project Insights Agile webinar. Our topic for today is building a community of continual learning. Just a few things to note before we get started. All participants will be put on mute. However, any questions you have are more than welcome. Please go ahead and type those into your question box, which you can find on your GoToWebinar dashboard. We will try to answer all of your questions during the session, but if we can't, we'll make sure to get to you through email before the end of the day. All of our PM and Agile trainings are valid for 1 PDU free of charge. However, you must be in attendance for the full session. I will email you your PDU certificate by the end of today, so please hold off on emailing us about your PDU certificate until then. For all other PDU information, please visit our PI community, type in PDU in the search, and you will find the PMI rules in an article called Webinars and PDUs. Also, please note this webinar recording and slides will be available within our Project Insight community, and I will also be sending those in an email to you within the next 24 hours. My name is Denise, and I'll be your moderator today. I'm on the marketing team here at Project Insight. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to reach me at denise.rodriguez@projectinsight.com. If you're not already familiar with Project Insight, we're a cloud-based project management solution. We work with two kinds of companies, those that are rapidly growing and need to scale the way they are managing their projects, and those that want greater visibility across their project portfolio, want more insight into the workloads of their resources, and want a better way to collaborate on their projects among team members. If any of these sound familiar to you and you would like to learn more, please feel free to contact us via phone, email, or request your demo at projectinsight.net. I'd like to give a warm welcome to our presenter today, Dave Cornelius. Dr. Dave Cornelius is an experienced IT and business professional and a globally recognized lean and agile catalyst who empowers others to achieve their very best. He specializes in coaching, training, leading co-located and distributed teams to deliver quality innovations from concept to cash. Dave also has held several leadership roles where he has helped transform IT into a partner with other groups within the organization. He is also the founder of 5 Saturdays program and leads the group's leadership council. Good morning, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for asking.
Awesome. Well, hey, welcome. It's great to be here again. Another fun day of sharing your ideas. Hopefully we could all learn something new and move forward. So as usual, we always begin a webinar by answering and responding to questions that's posed by the attendees. So the first question is by Juan from Bogota. And he says, what is the best practices to present results, good or bad, with sponsors, how many times in a month? So the Dr. Dave response is, I would recommend once a month or schedule a semi-quarter meeting to demonstrate the value your team created for customers and the organization. The leaders would really appreciate that. The second question comes from Patrick from California. And he says, my understanding of Agile approaches is that co-location of team members is important. How about dedicated team members? Or is it important that the team members are 100% dedicated to a single project? Well, the response to that is dedicated team members is best whether Agile or traditional projects are executed. But I would recommend that you rotate team members every 6 months to ensure that we're keeping them engaged. And our third question is from Caroline from somewhere in the USA. And she says, well, this approach seems good, which we're talking about SAFE, the Scale Agile Framework last month. And he says, does the speaker have a business case that confirms that the training is cost effective? So I would like to say that there are many business cases that training is cost effective. And if you visit the scaledagileFramework.com website for references, you would find many things, many different companies who have leveraged this training and who will have gained great benefits from it. And so this is one of the few trainings that really put people into practice it immediately, and especially if it's done at work. So I would say yes, this is great value here. So here are our topics today. In our topics today, we're going to talk about the community of continual learning, leadership engagement, selecting and hire the right people, and about the holacracy culture. And we'll also give you some examples of good ways and good techniques that you could use for building a community of continual learning. So at the end of this presentation, we want you to be able to really have a better understanding of how do we build a community of learning, engage leadership, select, hire, and retain the right people, and really deploy a holacracy culture. So let me begin by telling you that learning communities within organizations are powerful sources of engaged people. This is where you find the most productive and satisfied people who increase profitability through innovation. It all begins with hiring the right people at the right time to perform the right job. So I wanted to take a look at Google, and recently I read a New York Times article from about February 2016 titled, "What Google Learned from Its Quest to Build a Perfect Team." The article highlighted the effort expanded by Google to find the right people to help make innovative products. So they were looking at a few key attributes, and what they discovered, and what they look for is that they're looking for emergent leaders, people who are willing to step up and step in and take on leadership opportunities, people who have the ability to tackle difficult problems. And those are people who are extremely engaged and motivated. They want owners and not employees. Right? And they want people who are going to say, this is my company, and we want to make a difference by being here. They look for people with cognitive abilities, the ability to really think through problems and solve them, and also leveraging analytical skills. So you can see one of the larger software companies in the world, have different expectations of people who walk through their doors. But also when we look, one of the key important factors that we have to get leaders engaged. When we have leadership engaged, they provide a pathway for people to thrive within the organization, and the organization actually excels. It matters when the organization's leadership is attentive to the needs of the people producing wealth for the organization. So one thing that they can do is to foster a supportive and psychologically safe environment where people can say and share new ideas as much as they need to. They're open to entertaining different points of views where people could really share new ideas and new concepts, and they're not shut down immediately. Most leaders, this is the way we've always done it. Well, they want to challenge the way we think and get beyond the status quo. We want to find new ways of innovating and building great products, and to make sure that we build this community where people are open to learning new things and trying new things. And so the good thing is that their practice will help to build an organization that is really reliable and is adaptable, because we live in dynamic times, and it's no longer the same where we're working locally only. We have the great opportunity of being global organizations. So leadership has to be engaged to make sure that they can provide a great space for people to work, grow, and learn. So one thing that, one of the greats who have created a great software company, Steve Jobs, he says, the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So as you get into the process of trying to find the right people, to select them, to hire them, and to retain them, we have to look and make sure that there's a great culture fit with that individual in the organization. You want to look at candidates that has the ability to interact and communicate with members of the organization. And you may not, one of the things is that as leaders, as people who are part of an organization, you will be asked sometime to participate in the interview process. So I want you to think about this. The next time you're asked to interview someone for a new job or a new opportunity in your organization, that you put some of these contexts and concepts to mind and ask these questions. Are they a culture fit? Do they have the ability to interact and communicate? We want to make sure that they're curious and creative leaders and thinkers, because that's where innovation comes from. And last but not least, it's really a character of trust and loyalty. People that you could rely on day in, day out to come in and help build, the great work that's needed to help the organization to grow. Well, the interesting thing is that there was a company called Zappos, and Zappos really rely on this whole concept of holacracy. And so the leaders at Zappos developed this culture of holacracy to empower people in the organization to self-organize and thrive. Everyone in the organization owns the responsibility to get work done based on assigned roles. So the attributes of a culture or company practicing holacracy, it begins with the simple ideas that there's autonomous work without micromanagement. When we talk about self-organization in the agile space, roles are defined around the work and not people. So if there's work to be done, then you find the right people to get that job done, as opposed to assigning someone and said, hey, you're assigned this duty. It's like, hey, we have work to do based on your skills and your desire. Go get this job done. And things are not always filtered up and down the chain, so decisions can be made locally. You have two people sitting in a cube making great decisions about the organization based on some vision that was already established. The rules are the same for everyone. There's great transparency in the organization, so even the CEO has to follow these rules. They're very simple rules that there will be transparency and that people have the opportunity to participate. Now, the first question that we threw out there was, what are the attributes to hire right? And so the great desire to find and hire the right people to help organizations succeed is really a big deal. Right? We invest a lot of energy to select people that would make a difference in taking on the ownership mindset, as you can see, as desired by the folks at Google. So I said hire right and win. And so the things that you're looking for is that it's all of the above. We want to make sure there's a good culture fit, people are communicating and collaborating, they're curious, they're creative thinkers, and they're trustworthy and loyal. So when we think of how do we build a community of continual learning, it's really important for us to understand that. And so we look at it from the context that we have people skilled at creating, acquiring, and transferring knowledge, right? You have people who are interacting and say, hey, I have a great idea, let me share this with you. You have this great openness and tolerance for discussions. And people are having dialogues and sharing ideas in a very creative and open way without any fear that their ideas will be shut down. And so one of the things as a leader, or even, and if you're not in a leadership role, you do certainly have the ability to step in and recommend that, hey, we have to create lunches and learn and some other opportunities for us to share ideas, maybe a 2-hour window of learning every Friday. And so also, it's by promoting holacracy, where we have self-managed teams where people are making great decisions locally and not waiting for other people in the organization to make decisions and guide where they go. So when we think of this great idea of a community of learning, right? So we have the great people skilled at acquiring and transferring new knowledge. We have this culture of open discussions and tolerance. We have teams sharing new ideas. And yes, we have holacracy. We have this great opportunity for teams to really get together and self-organize and move forward. So the thing is that what should we learn? What should we really learn as a learning community, right? They have to have some target and some goals. And generally, you could get the teams to help you with that, and certain people in leadership could actually help to foster that environment as well. So I said, let's think about agile practices, right? So we could talk about collaboration and iterative delivery. We're taking the time to make sure that we provide the greatest value to our customers at a very frequent level, where we're not trying to build the whole world all at one time. We get an understanding of customer patterns. What are the loyalties and the things that are allowing customers to remain loyal and to be a part of our organization and really to continue to leverage our products and services. The other thing is understand our organization culture for strengths and weaknesses. What can we do to improve where there are weaknesses, and how can we leverage those strengths to do better and ensure that our company is moving forward. So we could say, why does it matter? Why does it really matter for us to have a learning community? I think it's essential because we have this great deal of unpredictability that we're dealing with every day. As organizations and businesses become more global, we have no idea what's going to happen next. We could plan for that, but the reality is, if we have people locally engaged with the right knowledge and skills, then they're able to make the best decisions, for the entire organization. And so it really matters because in most organizations, we have too many bench warmers, just not enough active participants who are actually contributing to the knowledge pool. So we have to make sure that we build this culture and this community where it's okay for people to come in and learn new things. And then, global competition, it's really a big deal. And so it's not like before when, our competition was local. Our competition are now global. And we know this from research that engaged employees produce more value. And so in our next questions that we know more value, so let's look at what are some of the strategies to get there, right? So in order to help people move along, we have to have a strategy. And so the strategies that I look at in terms of getting people there and having the right goals is that we need to understand where they are and try to help generate this whole idea of aspiration, where they have the ambition to learn new things. And so also it's like getting them to be aware of where there are gaps in knowledge and experience. And so that could either be from a colleague providing feedback or just this other self-awareness that we pick up on. We have to make sure that we tell them, hey, be curious, be relentless, and ask, have this asking, wonder why, to say, I wonder why, so that we have this great level of curiosity. And be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. Understand that we have weakness and we can incrementally improve. It's essential that we get there, that we have a great strategy and create opportunities to allow people to move forward with aspiration, have some self-awareness, be curious, and most of all, be vulnerable. So the good thing, I read it recently, I read a Gallup poll, and it stated that in 2005, it said engaged employees are less likely to have health problems. Engaged employees help to increase the company's bottom line. So also in a Harvard Business Review survey, the respondents, like 71% of the respondents stated engaged employees are critical to achieving overall organizational success. So the question is, does engaged employees produce more value to the organization? And the answer is, that is absolutely true. The answer is true, that engaged employees produce more value to the organization. So let's look at one form of building a community of continual learning. Here is one practice. And so most of you may be familiar with the whole idea of lunch and learns, right? It's a great way to build a community of shared learning, right? And so it's great to have a schedule that we set things up and make sure that that's available to everyone, and they know that there's a new learning coming, like maybe every Thursday or every other Thursday. Uh, Make sure that we have very great creative topics, right? And make sure that everyone is aware that it's coming, and everyone where to meet, when to meet, what are the topics, and what are the benefits for attending. But make sure that there's always a takeaway, whether it's a file that you send via email, you set up a website where you could really do more of a Google Hangout, share documents, send the PDF, record the sessions. Make sure it's something that's tangible that people could take away and go back to and refer to later on. Another fabulous thing is to make sure that it's interactive and fun. Right? And we have to make sure that people are having a good time while they're doing this, so they do not lose their enthusiasm and become bored. Another one of my favorite is open space sessions. Open space sessions are where you have all of the topics are defined by the learning participants. Everyone who comments in, and they said, well, here's my topic. I want to talk about building a community of continual learning. Well, people who attend this session, they could decide which topic and groups they want to contribute to. Right? And there's some basic principles that says there's a law of 2 feet, and they want you to follow your passion. So the law of 2 feet says is that if I'm not satisfied with the group that I've joined and the topic, I should get up and leave and go somewhere else. Follow my passion to find something else that I'm more interested in. It gives you the opportunity to explore different groups for topics of interest. You may also be a butterfly. And so where you may take time to reflect and maybe even have a water cooler conversation with someone as well. But you could go from different groups and really gather new information and new knowledge. And that group may also be just a bunch of people hanging out in a hallway or just sitting in the room quietly, where you can strike up a conversation about something of interest. But also being a bumblebee, being able to go from different groups who are having different topics and being able to contribute, right? You're cross-pollinating and providing new knowledge and ideas to different people. And so the other thing that you may want to look at is that now that we're talking about lunch and learns, open space sessions, how about getting out of the building? Attend local and regional or even national conferences where you can get new knowledge. The great meetup groups that you may look at and attend virtually throughout the month. Or sometimes some groups even meet on a weekly basis. So there's a great opportunity for you to contribute back to those different groups as well. There's great professional development organizations out there. Professional organizations like the Scrum Alliance and Agile Alliance, who are all doing things to help people improve. But also you have the Project Management Institute as well, and other organizations where you could join and really gain new knowledge and bring that knowledge back to the organization. I said get out there and write some white papers and blogs. I think it's important that we continue to contribute to the lives of what's going on. And one of my other favorites is doing a retrospective of where people have an opportunity to collaborate and discover about different past experiences. And in the Agile space, we use retrospective like every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we get together as a team and we engage in continual learning by asking, what went well, what did not go well, and how can we improve going forward. And so those are very powerful questions where you have a group of people reflecting and really asking different questions. And so it is powerful that we have these simple questions to guide us as we do discovery about ourselves and about our teams and our teammates. At the end, we have these wonderful steps to improve. So we can look at things that, what can we do now? What can we do in the future? And they're all prioritized. We look at the top 3 things that we want to improve on. These are great opportunities for learning. And these are great opportunities for us to continue to get better. But you can even go bigger. and go into where you have a science fair and where people are demonstrating different innovations that they can't come up with. Make it a competition. Have cross-functional teams participate in the organization, and really building out this as maybe an annual event where you're trying to generate innovation in the organization. It could even be semi-annual, where people are, or twice a year, people are engaged and coming up with new ideas for different areas within the business. And so one thing that comes out of that, and with science fairs, is that you have this collaborative and team building experience, because you have people who are coming together and say, let's solve a problem for our organization. Let's solve a problem for our department, for our team, for ourselves. And this helps us to produce the tangible outcomes. And so you could use those for the future, and really maybe even immediately, that you could use for different products and projects. So one of the question is that which of the following does not produce collaborative learning? So engaging events allow people to learn and retain more. You know, I'm a big fan of open space, a great event where anyone can suggest a topic and have others participate in the conversation, which is really fascinating and a great opportunity. So the answer is C, sit at my desk and watch YouTube. You know, that's non-collaborative. That's very passive actions. We want to also evaluate the learning. We want to understand the work that we're doing and the opportunities that we're providing for members in the organization that is adding value to their lives. So sometimes we have to clearly state the learning objectives for each program. You know, how are lunch and learns going? You know, and you could use a retrospective to evaluate most of these learnings. We want to make sure that people are engaged. So we said, hey, provide a journal of the learning experiences. You know, you could get that in a blog. We could get that as people just taking the time to share what they learned. Sometimes you could even get the participants to participate and define some of the learning objectives and how to measure it. That's a great thing to make sure that people take ownership of what's going on. You know, surveys and retrospectives help us to get feedback, and they're really wonderful ways for us to understand what's going on. The thing is that as we provide these opportunities for learning, we need to also understand and discover, you know, how is this really affecting the organization's ability to innovate and to really solve problems and give us that great ability. I think that as we participate and get through all of these different ways that we can engage and build a learning community, you know, there's great value for this. But we want to make sure that this is sustainable, right? We want to make the learning an event and an experience. So science fair is a great event, and lunch and learns are great events. Open space is a great event and an experience for everyone involved. And so we should make sure that these are all done so that what we have in mind is that we want to sustain learning throughout the organization. As we create maybe some real-world challenges so that it could be contextual, so it could be real for the time and moment of the organization. It could be something that someone is dealing with, you know, on a daily basis, and we need to come up with a different way of doing that. We want everyone to be engaged and to participate, because as we've seen from some of the research, that engaged employees produce greater value. You know, having teams compete, individuals, I mean, I think it's wonderful. We see that in sports every day, the camaraderie that's built out of that, the friendships, the great relationships. So we should really take a page from what sports does and say, yes, let's have some competition. And make sure we recognize the winners and engage them to continue to do the great work. So the last thing that we want to say is that, you know, why is it important to evaluate and sustain, you know, learning experiences? You know, so we have to invest that time to discern what programs are not producing fruit and gracefully bring them to a close. So the thing is, why is it important to evaluate and sustain learning experience? So one of the answers is E, to discern when to stop learning programs, right? All of these other options are great, but we also need to just make sure that the people are learning, and we have to figure out, when to stop doing that, stop doing some programs. So in summary, I want to say that we have to select, hire, and retain employees that are curious and creative thinkers. They're problem solvers, and they have a character of trust and loyalty. We have to develop a multifaceted learning culture that supports self-organization and empower leaders to emerge. Look at and continue to evaluate the learning outcomes by the people and the programs that are put in place, and sustain the learning opportunities for as long as you can. And when they become stale, then we just need to stop doing that. So feel free to send questions to myself at drdave@knowledgeshare.org. Go out to our website at knowledgeshare.org and get some great learning about some of the webinars that we're doing, some of the different learnings and opportunities that we have. We have a great book out there, Transforming Your Leadership Character, The Lean Thinking and Agility Way. Pick that up at Amazon.com. The same thing with our Agility Leadership Game. You could buy that at Amazon.com as well. We have this great program called 5 Saturdays where we engage students and we teach them agility and software and technology concepts. We're currently in the midst of that right now. This coming Saturday will be our 3rd Saturday. So, and get out there, donate, see how you can get involved. GrokShare is our podcast where we have multiple podcasts per month that you could gather some new knowledge. Go out to grokshare.com. We're on iTunes at Knowledge Share with Dr. Dave, and also on Google Play with Knowledge Share with Dr. Dave. Feel free to contact us at Knowledge Share at www.knowledgeshare.org, or hit us up on Twitter at Knowledge Share. So last but not least, we're going to kick you over to Denise. And Denise, you could continue to share how people could get their PDUs.
Thank you, Dave. All right, guys. For those of you on social media, I'd like to invite you to follow, like, and subscribe to our social media channels. Our handle on Twitter is @ProjectInsight. You can also find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for the latest in PI news. In our Project Insight community, you'll find many recorded videos and webinars for you to watch and learn from. You can sign up for your next IT methodology webinar, project management webinar, leadership, product training, Agile, which is coming next month as well. So go ahead and check out our webinar calendar. Register for as many as you would like, and they are all free, and we hope to see you there next time. Thank you so much, Dave, for a great presentation, and thank you, everybody else.
Thank you,
Have a great day.